We're going to have on stage today the Honorable Anise Parker, Mayor of the City of Houston. We're also going to have the Honorable Ed Emmett, who is our Harris County Judge, and the Honorable Mark Henry, who is the Galveston County Judge. They will take the stage today and provide a few comments. And then certainly, last but not least, we're going to welcome Bill Reed, who's back from Florida, where he serves as the Director of the National Hurricane Center. And we appreciate their time here today to help us officially kick off the workshop.
I'm going to be very, very brief because the truth of the matter is we're preaching to the choir. The fact that you're here shows that you're interested and you know that hurricane season is upon us. So instead, I want to share just a couple of thoughts because every storm we learn something. Obviously, we learned a lot from Rita that we could implement during Ike. But now we've learned some things from Ike, and they're not necessarily good things. I hear all the time people come up to me and say, you know what? I know you told us to stay. I know you told us not to evacuate unless we were in danger of a storm surge, but I'm not staying if the power is going to go out, so I'm going to leave anyway. You need to help us get the message out. That's still the wrong thing to do. You evacuate if you're in a storm surge area and an evacuation is called either by the county judge of Harris County or Galveston County or Chambers County, wherever you might live. But we do understand that there is a possibility of power outage. But think about this. If you were to leave before the storm, what's the first thing you're going to want to do after the storm passes? You're going to want to turn around and come right back in and check on your property. So the message we have to get out is simply this. If you're in a storm surge area, prepare to evacuate. If you're not, the same message, I know the two words will come back to haunt me the rest of my life. Hunker down, stay where you are. As soon as the storm passes, then you can secure your property and plan. So what we're asking people to do is really have two sets of evacuation plans. One for those who have to evacuate pre-storm and one for those who want to leave after the storm. The other thing that has changed, how many of you are on Facebook or Twitter or any of that? Yeah, scary, isn't it? So am I confess. You can help tremendously. The fact that you're here and you're gaining all this knowledge, and as the season approaches or we get more into the season, communicate with everybody you know and help spread the message of evacuating if you're in a storm surge area and an evacuation's called, but staying put, shelter in place otherwise, and contact all of the websites. I know we've got readyharris.org, there's readyhouston.org, I believe is the city of Houston. Numerous websites are out there. Help us spread the information, and thank you for being here this morning. I really hope you don't have to see me much this summer, by the way.
The most important thing for today is that you're aware that we're in hurricane season and that you are thinking about what that may mean to you and your family. Because we are in a region that is growing and changing very rapidly, we have hundreds of thousands of folks who are new to the Texas Gulf Coast, who've never been through hurricane season and don't know what to expect. That's why we have this event. That's why we're all here today. If there's nothing else that you take away, it is that we know how to do this. We can get through this. There's no magic in hurricane season. It's about your responsibilities and our responsibilities and communication. Our job is to work together, prepare, train, have an emergency plan that we execute as soon as a storm is sighted, have an emergency plan that we execute while the storm is in progress, and the recovery plan after the storm passes. We know how to do this. We train for it. We prepare for it. And depending on the type of storm, we'll be reacting. Your responsibility is to have your individual family plan in place, and we're going to be talking about that, and to stay informed. We will be as clear as we can be about what is actually happening and what we need you to do to be a productive part of the process and not a hindrance. And your responsibility, have that plan and stay informed. We know that there are certain people in this area who would need to evacuate in the event of a serious storm surge. We also know that, at least for the city of Houston, the majority of Houstonians do not need to evacuate prior to a storm. You need to shelter in place. And there are preparations for that. And as you go to the different booths today and being here today, you'll have the information about what you need to do to shelter in place. And then for those primarily in Harris County, but some Houstonians on our coastal side who would need to evacuate, today you can find out what you would need to do for that, how to plan your evacuation route, and what needs to happen next. I'm just here to be part of this event with all of our emergency personnel here today to tell you that you are our partners in this effort. We know what we need to do from our side. You can help us make sure that our citizens are safe by all of you being prepared on your side. Have the plan. Know where you are in relation to the coast. Know what the impact would be on your property in different types of storms. Have your kit together. If this is hurricane season, we ask that storms can develop quickly. We ask that you keep gas in your car. We ask that you have a few days of food and water at your home available, and then have your emergency plan. Have your kit. Have your food. Okay, we've got a little wildlife here in the George R. Brown. And then the ultimate thing, stay informed. Be ready to receive what we hope will be very clear, directed information about what to do every step of the way.
Thanks for being here. As Judge Emmett said, you have taken the first step to being prepared, and we need you to then take that on to family and friends. We have a lot of vendors back here who are very helpful in the direction that we're trying to go in preparedness. So rather than belabor things that they've already talked about, I'll be real brief and say the thing that I would like to impart is that we have a lot of information at our fingertips, everything from the Coast Guard to the National Weather Service to the Governor's Office. And we as a group make decisions that we believe are in the best interest of the region, not just of Galveston Island or the city of Houston. With that in mind, understand that we do have some evacuation requirements off of the Galveston Island because of its low-lying area and its vulnerability to surge. When we ask for an evacuation plan to be implemented, you'll see that that's the first, and that's because we only have about 2 to 3 corridors to get out of the area, and that is I-45, 146, and Highway 6. But rest assured, we have coordinated this as a group, not only the timing, but the execution. And as I'm going to steal from Judge Emmett, if we accidentally, or if we order an evacuation, the storm turns and it was not necessary and we get thrown out of office, I can live with that. What we can't live with is not making a decision and leaving people in vulnerable areas when the storm shows up.
This is a great opportunity. It always awes me to see this many folks out here. Do you realize this is the longest running public hurricane forum in the country? Right after Hurricane Alicia, the Weather Service and your local emergency managers got together and 60 people met out at the Hilton out by Hobby Airport, and that was the start of what has now grown into from a officials meeting to a public meeting shortly thereafter that. And it's truly amazing. It would not happen without the great teamwork that we have in this city between a major utility like CenterPoint, 7 years running and sponsoring us. Prior to that, our petrochem industry was sponsoring us. It's great to have those partnerships in there. Then to have your local officials step up to the plate, provide their staff time and efforts to make sure you're informed about what's going to happen the next time one of those big bad boys or girls comes our way. 10 years ago, right about now, I was working at the Houston Forecast Office, and the first advisory on Tropical Storm Allison hit the street. How many of you in here were flooded by Tropical Storm Allison? Some of our own staff was. That is, to this day, still the largest urban flood that I know of in the United States. Also, about the power part of it, it's very interesting. You're going to be told to evacuate. You're going to be told to evacuate maybe over the period of 30 years, 3 or 4 times. Because of the long lead time I have to give you for that evacuation to be successful, 3 out of those 4 times you'll come home and say, why did I have to evacuate? I'm going to encourage my officials to not use the word unnecessary. It was necessary because we've built ourselves into these evacuation zones. It is necessary. The one time you come back and your house is flat, and you'll know why you had to go the other 3 times. We can't tell you which one that's going to be. So when they tell you to go, you go. Those of you that don't have to go because of the electricity, you want to go anyway, I'm in that boat. Still have my house in the west side of League City in Galveston County. I call it Mount Galveston. I'm 30 feet above sea level. I won't have to leave. I'm not in a surge zone. But if that place is such afterwards that the electricity is bad, then I'll leave. That's what you should think about. Have a plan to leave right after the storm. Let the people whose lives are threatened get out of the way first. Thank you very much. There's everything in the world you need to learn here about how to be prepared for a hurricane. Take advantage of it. Let's have fun.
CenterPoint Energy, always there.